Welcome once again to Auto Mundial, the weekly home of all the latest motoring news and reviews. This week, we get down and dirty in the new Jeep Gladiator.
We've also got an all-electric SUV sporting the Mustang badge in facelifted 2025 form.
Plus, just when you thought Adrian Newey was done, he gives us this.
That's all coming up. First though, the news.
With fun looks, refreshing performance figures and a hint of the old days in a new age package, the Alpine A290 Hot Hatch is one of our most anticipated cars of the year, and the French manufacturer has finally unveiled UK pricing. Set to begin deliveries in April, the little hot hatch will be available from £33,500 with pre-orders now open. As expected, both 180 and 220 brake horsepower models will be available, with WLTP range sitting at 236 and 226 miles respectively, both running on the same 52 kilowatt-hour battery. For the more potent model, expect to pay from £36,000, while fancy trim options will add a further £1,500 to that price in either specification. PCP financing offers are also available with 4-year terms starting from £345 a month at 2.9% APR after a £5,054 deposit. Rivaling many tamer city runabouts, we look forward to following the Alpine's success throughout 2025.
With diesel engines rapidly becoming enemy number one in city centres and government incentives still pushing consumers towards zero emissions, the all-electric commercial van is slowly finding its place on the market. And as demand increases, the segment is rapidly getting more and more variety. Among the most recent competitors in class is the Nissan E-Interstar, as the Japanese Mach's latest panel van offering receives a major update in 2025. Whilst a diesel-burning model is available, it's the E-Interstar's ability to venture into ultra-low emission zones that will give it an edge for many. In its third generation, the Interstar gets jazzy styling thanks to striking front daytime running lights, decorating an otherwise very function-over-form design. Sturdy protective plastic of the bumpers continues to what looks like a very rough and ready cabin, perfect for a few 100,000 miles of abuse. Then again, there are plenty of creature comforts from the 10-inch infotainment screen, with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as standard, to nice climate controls. If the rear loading bay was not enough, a further 135 litres of storage is available in various cubbies inside. Now, speaking of the rear end, the smallest L2H2 model's load compartment measures 3.2 metres in length, with the longest model getting an extra half a metre, making for plenty of room for longer objects. Move to the side and you'll notice one of the largest sliding doors in class at over 1.3 metres long, so loading the Interstar's 1.7 tonne capacity should be a breeze. It will also tow up to 2 tonnes. Two surprisingly small batteries are available for the newest Nissan panel van, a 40 kilowatt-hour unit and a far more worthwhile 87 kilowatt-hour model offering up to 280 miles of range. On a DC fast charger, the Interstar will gain 157 miles in about 30 minutes, leaving us wondering why a larger battery is not available with the Japanese LCV.
One rival to the Interstar featuring a larger battery is the Stellantis Group's lineup of offerings spearheaded by the Peugeot e-Boxster. Despite sporting a 110 kilowatt-hour unit, it will only just manage 260 miles on a charge and yet will take upwards of 50 minutes to go from 10 to 80% on a fast charger. That lack of range is no doubt due to a somewhat unnecessary 270 brake horsepower going to the wheels. though it will help when maxing out the 2.4-ton towing capacity and up to 1.4 tons of load capacity. As for the rear compartment, the Boxer in electric form is available in up to L4H3 specification, meaning that at its biggest it gets a 4-metre-long loading bay. Smaller variants of the van are all comparable with the equivalent Nissan, however. Much like with the Nissan, the Peugeot e-Boxster's cabin blends rugged plastics with higher tech features like the larger 7-inch infotainment screen, driver display and automatic aircon. The Peugeot may be rated to tow more than the Nissan, but for everyday use without a trailer, the Japanese contender will carry heavier loads, all whilst providing marginally better range. So unless you require a longer load compartment or plan on spending a lot of time towing heavy tonnage, we would most definitely recommend Nissan's Interstar. One final nail in the Peugeot's coffin will be its price, as hitting the market from £50,000, it sits some £7,000 higher than the Nissan E-Interstar. That's a big price to pay for an extra 400 kilos of towing capacity.
Jump back a decade or so and the Mustang name was a synonym of brute power, looks to drop any 5-year-old's jaw, and a gut-churning V8 rumble. But in 2025, the all-electric SUV that is the Mustang Mach-E has been around for 5 years, and that means one thing: it's time for a facelift. Whilst here in the UK we are yet to get our hands on the new shape Stang, it's already out and on sale in the ancestral home of the muscle car, giving us a nice preview into the model before it arrives on our shores this spring. And the most noticeable change is right in front of our eyes, with a fake grille that now looks a little more realistic thanks to contrasting paint and texture. The rest of the front end gets a collection of subtle tweaks with sharper lines and more aggressive details, giving the model a sportier look. But what the blue oval will really want us to focus on is the tech lying under the surface. In fact, this new Mach-E gets a heat pump, allowing the car to preheat the battery to its optimal operating temperature before you set off, improving efficiency and power. Now, that being said, the car's newest model does not get refreshed battery or electric motor tech, despite having hit the market some 5 years ago. Whether or not the UK version gets greater hardware improvements is unclear at the moment, so we'll just have to wait until its European launch. In the US, Ford's Halo EV also got a dramatic price cut alongside last year's facelift in a bid to better compete with the Tesla Model Y. Whilst there's no confirmation of UK prices as yet, we'd expect it to drop from its current £51,000 to nearer £45,000.
After the break, Jeep provides us with a bit of fun in the mud to round out the winter months.
Welcome back. Coming up, downforce for days and a 6.5 litre V12 take to the track.
The winter months are coming to a close and the sun is finally peeking out from behind its overcast curtain. To us, that means one thing and one thing only. It's time to get back outside and explore the great outdoors. And here is an excellent model in which to do just that. What you're looking at here is the all-new Jeep Gladiator, essentially an oversized pickup variant of the Wrangler we get here in the UK. With its extended wheelbase, the Gladiator gets plenty of bed space for adventure equipment like bikes or camping gear. But with the Jeep name plastered to the front end, its off-road abilities mean you get far further into the wilderness than your run-of-the-mill SUV. In fact, most higher trim level variants like this Mojave edition get sturdy four-wheel drive systems powering these 33-inch off-road tyres. Ensuring those wheels keep turning is a 3.6-litre V6, providing 285 brake horsepower and, more importantly for clambering up hills and towing large loads, 260 foot-pounds of torque. As a result, the off-road ready pickup is rated to tow up to 3.5 tonnes. If that wasn't enough to get you where you need to go, range-topping editions get even beefier bits like higher riding suspension, solid axles and locking differentials. For the less adventurous, 2025 will see a plug-in hybrid powertrain join the lineup. No doubt the same 380 brake horsepower combination of an electric motor and 2-litre four-pot that powers the Wrangler's PHEV. Though for a quiet and efficient city-bound runabout, we would like to see a cabin with a shred more splendour than this wiped-down, easy-clean pleather, combined with removable doors. The Jeep Gladiator in its 2025 specification is available from $40,000. And with the important stuff like power standard across the range, you needn't spend much more than that if all you need is a dependable workhorse with a hunger for exploration.
Late last year, Volvo refreshed its lineup of range-topping SUVs sporting the 90 moniker. Alongside the gas-guzzling XC90 we're all familiar with, the Swedish manufacturer also gave us this, the EX90. An all-electric adaptation of the full-size SUV we've come to love for its superior comfort and safety, the new EX90 also left quite the mark. But it isn't the only large all-electric SUV to hit the market in recent times, as looking to compete with the Volvo is the latest 7-seat high-riding SUV, the Hyundai Ioniq 9.
With equally as futuristic looks as any other South Korean model sporting the Ioniq name, the range's latest edition is a sleek yet somewhat hefty unit with looks that you wouldn't expect from anything other than a concept. Yet Hyundai tells us that this is indeed the model that we'll see arriving on UK roads later this year. Inside, much like its Volvo counterpart, the Ioniq 9 gets the option for either 7 or 6 seats, with a middle row bench or pair of swivelling captain's chairs. True to form across the all-electric space, it also gets a very futuristic cabin with a clean design and few details. That being said, the centre console does get numerous buttons, saving you from menu diving as well as phone storage and charging ports, whilst a central armrest features all the driving controls that you would expect. At the rear, a secondary climate control module highlights separate front and rear aircon zones, pointing towards a techie space, as does the dual 12-inch display on the dash. A spacious model thanks to a flat floor, each row of seating gets good leg and headroom for most adults, while 620 litres of boot space accompanies an additional 88 litres of storage under the bonnet. The car's smooth design helps it cut through the air to a 385-mile range in the rear-wheel drive model, though a more powerful all-wheel drive unit is also available, both of which are powered by a 110 kilowatt-hour battery. What you're looking at here may only be a pre-production version, as the Ioniq 9 awaits to hit the market later this year, but when it does become available to order this summer, it is expected to cost around the same amount as its cousin, the Kia EV9, which starts from £65,000. A dramatic price difference to the near £100,000 Volvo EX90. Can the South Korean really compete with the Swede?
Immediately, performance between the two luxury EVs is very comparable, with the established Volvo getting a similar 11-watt kilowatt-hour battery, good for up to 370 miles. Charging from 10 to 80% in both models takes less than 30 minutes, ensuring short pit stops, while the EX90 is currently only available in all-wheel drive form. That means its entry-level power figure of 402 brake horsepower is twice that of the Hyundai's 214. Though jump up to the Korean performance model and you can once more compare acceleration between these two rivals. Inside, there's no denying that the Volvo is just that little bit more sophisticated, with premium vegan upholstery decorating the car and slightly higher tech standards, we feel. Whilst the Hyundai's own infotainment system isn't horrendous, we do like the Google-based software that sits behind the EX90's 14-inch display. Where the Volvo might make for a fancy experience up front, that does seem to come as a detriment to rear passengers and space, as not only are the rearmost seats a bit sombre, but the boot isn't exactly cavernous at 310 litres. Despite its higher price tag, the Volvo struggles to offer the same level of practicality as the Hyundai, once again pointing towards the South Korean manufacturer's ability to provide status on a budget. Currently, there are very few models in the full-size all-electric 7-seat market, meaning both Volvo and Hyundai have a head start on their incoming competitors. But they'll both be looking over their shoulders throughout 2025. Make sure to find out which of the newest entrants are worth your time here on Auto Mundial.
Porsche 911 GT3 RS, Ford Mustang GTD, Mercedes-AMG GT Black Series. These track-ready toys are all the absolute pinnacle of what their respective base models will do. At no expense spared, their manufacturers push their engines to the limits of power, swap out heavy body panels with ultra-light materials, and develop bespoke aero bits and bobs for optimal lap times. But based on regular, some might even say sedate road-going supercars, they represent a key compromise in performance. So what if you dropped all constraints of building a track weapon upon an existing road car? What if, perchance, you asked a certain Formula One designer to lead the project? And what if you then went ahead and made this thoroughbred racer road legal? Well, why ask the questions when we can simply provide you with the answer? This is the Aston Martin Valkyrie, and as you can probably tell, it's a bit special.
Okay, if we're totally honest, this is not actually the Valkyrie. This is the de-restricted, no-inch-given Edger Performance AMR Pro version of the Valkyrie, and unlike its tame cousin, you cannot pop to the shops on your way home in this bad boy. With heaps of carbon fibre trinkets that we wouldn't consider pedestrian-friendly, like the shapely front splitter, towering rear wing and aggressive shark fin, this model is not exactly road legal. But that does mean it is even more track-focused, to the point that it will actually make its motorsport competition debut later this year in the FIA World Endurance Championship, as it works towards a place on the grid at the Le Mans 24 Hours this June. This won't be the first time Aston Martin takes on the infamously grueling event, as several models sporting the Lagonda name have not only taken part, but won at Le Mans.
Now the winner pulls in to be submerged beneath a seething mass, eager to acclaim a resounding victory. A victory as richly deserved as it was long awaited.
Whilst we do prefer the standard car's simplified look, this performance-pushing model's tight packaging and obsessive focus on aerodynamic efficiency still makes it a good-looking model. Under the extreme and Formula One derived bodywork, the Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR Pro doesn't just drop the number plates from its sedate sibling, also cutting the road-going car's hybrid system. Instead, it relies solely on the Cosworth-produced 6.5-litre V12. But don't fear, as despite losing electrified power, it still sends well over 1,000 brake horsepower to the rear wheels, all without the heft of batteries weighing it down. And tipping the scales at just over a tonne, any mathematician will tell you that a power-to-weight ratio of near enough 1-to-1 is rather impressive. It's a fact that allows the AMR Pro to go from 0 to 62 in 2.3 seconds, and despite its fancy wings, it will tap out at over 250 miles per hour. That's enough to rival the odd plane. But most pertinent to the AMR Pro's future endeavours, Aston Martin claims its all-out track monster will lap the Le Mans 24-hour circuit in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. That's some 5 seconds quicker than last year's pole time. Whether or not it can do it in the heat of competition, we'll have to wait and see.
Next time on Auto Mundial, the Volkswagen Polo celebrates half a century of Econobox popularity.